Drew McIntyre's third WWE Championship reign will go down as one of the belt's worst reigns in WWE history. And that is a crowded and competitive field. Now, if you disagree with that statement, you can get in the comments, tell me why, but do me a favor and hear me out first. Even if you don't, get in the comments anyway, I could use the engagement. This past Friday, to the surprise of absolutely no one, Drew lost the WWE Championship to Cody Rhodes, ending his third reign with the belt at 57 days. And hey, he's had shorter. Now look, I've explained my distaste for the Drew-Cody feud in the past, but honestly, I really wanted this reign to succeed. Firstly, I think some of the best world title reigns are short world title reigns. Not everyone can or should be a forever champion, and in as short as 2 to 3 months, you can have a reign with a lot of character and a lot of value. Beyond that, Drew McIntyre is quietly one of the best realized characters in modern WWE. He has a pretty rich backstory and history to draw from for character motivation and feuds. And so, when he shockingly won the belt on TV a few months ago, I thought there was a lot of potential for the reign, despite my dissatisfaction with the feud that had preceded it. The problem, however, is they did nothing with this reign. Nothing good, nothing bad, nothing. And you may think, well, they didn't have the time to do much, but he had it for 2 months, 6 weeks, 6 episodes of television, 3-hour-long episodes of television over 6 weeks. And what did they do with that time? Well, here is an exhaustive list of opponents that Drew McIntyre faced between winning and losing the title. Sami Zayn. End of list. Over 2 months, Drew McIntyre, WWE Champion, had a single televised professional wrestling match. That is ridiculous. It's not like he was injured or anything during this reign. He was wrestling on house shows pretty frequently, but he only had a singular television opponent. If that doesn't reveal how thin the substance behind this reign is, then I don't know what can. But it's not like he wasn't on TV for those 6 weeks, so in the interests of fairness and completion, let's run down exactly what Drew was doing over these 6 weeks. Week 1, Drew cuts a promo and is run off by babyfaces. Week 2, cuts a promo. Week 3, cuts a promo, interferes in the main event, is laid out by babyfaces. Royal Rumble, beats Sami Zayn. Week 4, cuts a promo. Week 5, cuts a promo, interferes in the main event. Week 6, cuts a promo, interferes in the main event. Elimination Chamber, interferes in the main event. Week 7, he loses the goddamn belt. I am simplifying things somewhat, obviously, but even on paper, this is just giving your champion so very little to do. Because these decisions are repetitive, sure, but the bigger problem is how this booking made Drew a side character in his own title reign. He's a purely reactive force, and he isn't given anything to make him seem like a credible champion. Something that might have helped with that would have been a few matches. Not even title matches, just like matches. Like, this is the guy holding the belt. He's the #1 wrestler on your show. He should probably be wrestling on the show. Hell, he doesn't even have to go up against other main eventers if you're worried about messing with the very delicate balance of wrestling booking. He could be facing, like, Ilya Dragunov, Shinsuke Nakamura, Alex Shelley, Chris Sabin, not like they're doing anything in the tag division. Carmelo Hayes, double champion match, fuck it, you know, it's WrestleMania season. Do something fun and unpredictable. Try to drive a rating, man, come on. But no, Drew didn't wrestle on TV for 6 entire weeks while holding the World Championship. Now you, if you are this sort of person, may be sitting there and saying to yourself, another wort-great-pilled smart mark. Well, I hate to inform you, smark, but this is the WWE. Here, we have a focus on character and cinema, and that involves something called talking? Sorry if there's not enough grappling for your feeble wrestle brain, but we're busy making movies and telling stories. And if that's the way you feel, fair enough. Let's take a look at it from that perspective. Let's not analyze this reign as a piece of wrestling booking, but purely through the lens of storytelling. And to do that properly, let's give a quick history of Drew McIntyre as a character. Drew McIntyre joined WWE's main roster in the fall of 2009 when he was introduced as Vince McMahon's Chosen One. Like any young talent with potential in the late 2000s, he was placed directly into mid-card hell. He would then slowly but surely slide down to jobber status until his release from the company in June of 2014. From there, he returned to the independent circuit as Drew Galloway. He got good, got big, and reinvented himself as a bona fide main event draw. He was re-signed by WWE in 2017 and re-debuted on NXT to great success. He rejoined the main roster in 2018 to less success. He was Dolph Ziggler's Diesel for a few years, but Drew's fated main event push would finally come with a career-defining Royal Rumble win in January of 2020. He was crowned world champion at that year's WrestleMania in front of no fans. He'd hold the belt for most of pandemic lockdown, with his second reign ending at Elimination Chamber 2021. The very next pay-per-view, WrestleMania 37, was in front of fans again. Drew attempted to win his belt back, to finally finish his story in front of a proper crowd. He didn't win. This whole ordeal became the driving force behind Drew's character for the next half-decade. Here's a man who did everything right, reinvented himself, became undeniable, got recognized for it. But when his crowning moment finally came, it was tainted. It was wrong. And no matter how he tried to redo and rectify it, someone, something always got in the way. It made him bitter. How couldn't it? Eventually, the only thing in the way of Drew's success was Drew himself. He had this pathological need to antagonize people, an unwillingness to let go of a grudge. At WrestleMania 40, Drew got his fairy tale title win, in front of fans no less. But his fiercest rival for the past year, CM Punk, was at ringside. Drew couldn't resist gloating. Punk couldn't resist retaliating. Damian Priest cashed in his Money in the Bank, and just like that, it was over. Drew had the world in his hands for a few minutes, and then he fumbled it. Fast forward 2 years later. How does the story of his most recent reign go, do you think? Well, it seems obvious, doesn't it? WrestleMania's coming up again, and Cody Rhodes is world champion. Cody Rhodes, another man who became undeniable outside the company, returned a hero, but he had everything go right. Sure, it took a few tries, but it's not like an act of God screwed him at the finish line. No, he got to be QB1. He got the roaring fans. He got everything, and he has the gall to call himself an underdog through it all. Well, for once, fate smiles on Drew. And now he's the world champion a mere 4 months away from WrestleMania. Being crowned at the granddaddy of them all didn't work, but he can do the next best thing. Walk in and walk out as a dominant world champion. He just has to keep it till then. And more importantly, he has to keep it out of the hands of that rat Cody Rhodes. But weeks of obsessive vindictiveness catches up to him. He gets too greedy. He pays the price, and once again, Drew robs himself of his own redemption. He hasn't learned or changed, so he's doomed to relive a past that he can't let go of. Now, in reality, it didn't really go like that. Like, all the stuff I said before the title reign obviously happened, but then we get to the title reign and they don't really tap into any. They don't really tap into any of that. For all the promo time he got, he hardly even mentioned going to WrestleMania, an event that has been integral to his character for nearly a decade. No, instead he cut just a bunch of generic heel promos on guys like Randy Orton, and Cody Rhodes, and Jacob Fatu, and Sami Zayn, and Trick Williams, and the guys who are currently going for his belt. And you can look at the decision and be like, well, that's reasonable, you know, he's a world champion, he should cut promos on the guys winning the belts, but we don't get any fucking insight into, like, this guy's character or what's going on in his head. Hey, Drew, you kind of finished your fucking story here, or you're about to anyway. Do you want to talk about it at all? No? Why fucking not? The answer is that Drew's character has unfortunately been pretty fucking flattened out over the last few years. The writing team kind of forgot about the core of Drew's character, and now he's just a Twitter troll in real life, because over the past few years, he's had some moments on Twitter. So now he's the Twitter guy, which means he's just rage baiting in real life, which has turned him into a petty, toothless, and flat character. There was an opportunity to tell a story here, but they just didn't do that. Instead, we got incredibly shallow television because this title reign was only ever a smokescreen so WWE could work out what their WrestleMania plans were. But like, wrestling is a smoke and mirrors industry. You can throw up a smoke screen and still make it entertaining. You can still fucking say something with it. They just refused to. They were either unwilling or unable to do anything substantial or daring during this 2-month period, and the result was a completely limp chapter in the WWE Championship's history. Like, what does this reign do for anyone involved? It got the belt off Cody for a few weeks, only to get it back on him before WrestleMania. Jacob Fatu didn't really get to do anything of note. Would have been cool if he did. He's kind of a new character on TV, but whatever. And Drew, I mean, he didn't really get anything other than another world title reign under his belt. But the reign is only as good as what happens during it. And all he got to do during it was just talk some shit while his stats got padded. And that's a shame. It's a shame how this team of writers doesn't have anything for their world champion to do of substance. It's a shame that somehow this creative is too scared to take some kind of risk or do anything interesting during goddamn WrestleMania season, their biggest TV season of the year. It sucks that Drew, a character with such a clear and rich history, doesn't get to tap into his canon and do something interesting with it. I know I really came out swinging against this reign, but it's a goddamn shame how it turned out. Genuinely. Other WWE Championship reigns may have been shorter, may have been more damaging, or maybe longer and more painful to get through, but there are few reigns I can think of in the title's history that were just so insubstantial as the one that Drew had here. Although I suppose I wouldn't remember them. Counterintuitively. The point is, I think this title reign is emblematic of how Triple H's creative team just doesn't have the ability to improvise and pivot in ways that you need to when you run a goddamn pro wrestling company. It was obvious that Drew was never the plan, but instead of yes-anding the situation, instead of giving something that was of any valuable to the characters involved, we just got a completely blatant filler arc. WWE is an ensemble piece, and it needs wrestlers like Drew. It needs characters that are defined more by their failures than their successes, because not everyone gets to be a winner. And when the Drews of the world have depth and credibility, then the winners, the heroes, the Codys of the world, have something interesting to fight against. It makes the whole show good, you know? Instead, Drew's nuance, his importance, his story simply slipped through the cracks of a creative team that grows more scattered and more frantic by the day. Drew McIntyre, WWE Champion, became the symptom of a slow creative rot. Drew McIntyre's third WWE Championship reign ended at 57 days on March 6th, 2026. His match against Cody Rhodes had the signifiers of a main event bout, referee bumps, finisher swaps, table spots, but it had none of the meaning or tension that makes wrestling great. It was an appropriately flat end to one of the worst WWE title reigns in company history. If you still disagree, let me know why in the comments. If I have made you seen the light of God, then, that's weird. Keep that to yourself. More videos in the coming weeks, probably about the road to WrestleMania, possibly some things about other TV I watched, I don't know. If you liked or didn't like this video, please, please, please get in the comments and let me know. I like hearing from viewers, and I want engagement. Like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks.